China.
China.
China. China. China.
China.
Hey everyone, I decided to make a video about the China today. People expect China to overgrow the United States economy in 2040. Personally, I think that there would be a growth. However, I don't think that it will happen, and you would find out at the end of the video why I think so. I hope this video would be informative and would help you to find out more interesting stuff about China. Obviously, currently it's a second economy. Since I lived in China, I speak very basic Chinese. Very basic, but it's still... I found out that the Chinese is actually not that hard to learn, because most of the time they don't use time tenses like in English they do. Like I went, I will be coming, those kind of stuff. They just I go there tomorrow. That's it. It's pretty, especially the writing is a little hard, but overall language is not really hard, and you would have enough practice, you can learn it. The culture was awesome. I like China very much. The food is great. The technological advancement is just crazy in the cities. There were lots of pros and lots of cons I saw, and I'm going to share those with you. The pros are definitely the discipline. I was lucky to visit India after a couple months. I visited China, or before, I don't remember, it was like a couple months difference. It was the same time when I visited both countries. The main difference I thought in both countries is that the discipline in China was significantly higher overall in society than it was in India. For instance, it's really common thing to see, especially after 6 p.m. when people leave their works, like bank employees, some shop employees, like a bigger GSM operators, mobile cell operators. Their employees would go out and start to exercise in their work closing. This is the craziest thing I've ever seen. And they would put some kind of music, but that's actually a good thing because it's healthy. Of course, I don't think that the employees really care about their employees' health or well-being. However, overall it wasn't that bad. The food is amazing.
How can she seriously cook the most delicious food in the world?
Variety of seafood. I'm crazy about seafood. The culture is very interesting. The people are very nice. Almost everyone in China are really nice towards each other. However, as I started to understand the language, I could feel that not being Chinese is a significant factor if you're living there. In some provinces it's actually helpful, because for instance in Beijing there are companies that would literally pay. As a foreigner, they would just pay for you to come and sit in the office because it will look cool for other companies and for other employees. For Chinese company hire non-Chinese guys. This was one of the weird stuff that I saw there. The other weird thing is that China is the only country that I visited, and I visited like over 30, close to 40 countries, that literally no one spoke English. If there would not be a Google Translate, I would probably get lost there, or I would just die out of hunger. I was only able to find some restaurants, find where I should be going, because I had a Google Translate on my phone, and luckily I had international line open. That helped a lot. Other very interesting thing I wanted to share is my experience on a railroad or metro in Shenzhen. If you guys never been to metro, so there's like this thing that goes up and down, and people drop some coins there or have their cards and they can pass and they get the payment deduction from them. One of those guys break, and what happened, I was on my phone just going through the messages for probably 3-4 seconds. There was no one standing beside me. After 30 seconds I just turned to check if there are like a lot of people gathered, and there was a line probably out of 100 people just in 3 seconds. Can you imagine like how disciplined everyone should be not to form line, and if something breaks they form the line in 3 seconds? That was crazy experience, considering that in India you always get into traffic. Doesn't matter what time, where. Most of the cities in India, they are so disorganized that wherever you are you would probably get in traffic sooner or later. That was pros that I saw in China. However, cons wise, I think that China would not be the second economy of the world because of the current policies. If you don't know, that China started their economic growth before the current president, Jiang Zemin. That guy had very good relationship with Bill Clinton. if you would go and browse recent meeting between those two guys, the current president and previous president, there was a very unpleasant scene where they had some kind of meeting with all the CCP members, and Xi Jinping, the current president, asked the previous president not to sit close to him. This tells a lot. This tells very weird situation that Communist Party in China they have right now. First of all, you have to keep in mind that first time in the history of China, they started to push on businesses. I'm not talking about the ordinary businesses. People like founder of Alibaba, Jack Ma. I believe he was kidnapped about 2 or maybe a year ago, and that was a big shakedown for all the businessmen, showing that, hey, don't mess with the government because we can just come and take whatever you guys have. And obviously in United States that's not possible. Obviously many people started to think, hey, wait a minute, why we should actually be in China if we can get kidnapped in the middle of the day? Why we should not just transfer our money to some other countries? And this is when China started to get suspicious, because huge amount of wealth was transferring to the United States and going to the real estate. Overall, I want you guys to understand that one of the biggest investments of the China itself inside of China is also real estate. They literally have the ghost towns that were built, but they're empty because there is no that much demand. To prevent the capital flow from China to United States, they passed a law pretty much making the transfer money of legal transfer money from China to United States almost impossible. But that would not probably stop them, though they will still try to get out their money from China, because many people would not just feel safe after what happened. Also, another interesting fact is that Xi Jinping is the first president in I want to say decade, maybe in the last 50 years, that got selected to his third term. No one before him did that. And again, those guys, the previous guys, they were much friendlier with the West, with especially United States. They were much open. They understood that the only way for the third world country like China to grow, to monetize, to become one of the biggest economies in the world is to be open. But everything started to change with Xi Jinping. I think, considering that one of the main problems of China currently is also declining population, which is really weird. One of the biggest countries, I believe recently India passed them as a population-wise biggest country in the world, is that people stopped having kids. This is a very confusing situation. They have a similar situation right now with a population where they had a one-child policy for years. If you would have a second child, you would have to pay to the government, but now they're trying to reverse it. I don't think that will be possible, because Chinese people are very traditional, hardcore guys, hardworking. Many people just don't trust their own government, and this is a main thing. If you have a trust issue with your own government, you would not be staying. It's just a matter of time before you will leave your own country. If you guys like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure to comment what you think about this video. Looking forward to see you on the next videos.
Hey, you very good! See you next time!